Now we have the one and only Mr. Dan is going to join us. Thank you, Dan, for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have had the pleasure of knowing Dan for a lot of years, as I was a school counselor, and Dan is a school counselor and a fabulous school counselor at that. Sincerely,
yes. Thank you.
Sincerely, Dan. I mean, I knew that when I met you, and you hear through the grapevine, but you are so dedicated at what you do and so good, and the consistency of your knowledge through all these years, you know that lends itself to being just really knowledgeable and effective in being a school counselor. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know that to be true. And it's not an easy job, you can imagine.
It's a challenge, but I love it.
Yeah. So Dan, maybe you can start out and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My wife and I live in LaPorte, and we have a daughter, Madison, who's attending Valparaiso University. She's a senior nursing student, and my wife works at Horizon Bank in Michigan City. And
Yay, Horizon.
as you mentioned, yes.
Yeah, big supporter of Doomford.
Big, yes, very much so. And so we've been in LaPorte now for 25 years, and like you said, I'm a school counselor at Valparaiso High School.
Yay.
And this is just finished my second year there. But I also was a school counselor at Westville High School for 23 years. So it's kind of serving two communities,
right?
Which is very interesting, and I love that too.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And Valparaiso High School, what
yes.
a great organization.
Fantastic. And the great thing about that is I attended Valparaiso High School
how fun
and grew up in Valparaiso, so that is my hometown. So,
oh my gosh, how fun is that?
It's wonderful.
Right, the
Yes.
circle of life, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So Dan, can you tell us a little bit about what is happening? I know we could sit here all morning and talk about
Sure.
all the challenges that Valparaiso or any high school,
Right.
LaPorte High School, Michigan City, all our
Yes.
community high schools. Tell us what has happened and what's going on now. Maybe.
Well, really, the state just came out with some guidelines on what schools can do, and they've given schools some leeway in what they can do as far as online learning, or kind of like a hybrid with online learning and in-school learning. So right now what schools are doing is they're working really hard to come up with a program. So as of right now, there isn't really a laid out plan that's going to happen, and even at Valparaiso High School right now, I know that our administration is working towards a plan, but we haven't really received word on what that's going to be. For a school of our size, it's going to be very difficult to have kids come in stages. Like, if you have, are you going to have the seniors come in one day and the junior, with a school of 2,000 would be very difficult.
So for parents who are sitting out there, and I know every time we have some community meeting and there's an education person, we always say, so what's the plan?
Right.
And I guess what you're saying is they've been working feverishly. I'm sure have not stopped working feverishly since this pandemic hit.
Day in and day out.
Right. There's so many moving parts that continue to change.
Right.
So really what you're saying is we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
And would you have tips for parents
on
what to even think? Or
well, the biggest thing is consistency. Try to keep the school day as much as you can at home. So I know it's not really realistic to have the kids get up at 7 o'clock and start working at 7:30 like the school day is, but as much as you can, consistently work in the same place every single day, from as much to the school day as you can. Work in the same place every day.
Okay.
If 9 to 10 is math and 10 to 11 is English, and take a break. It's very important to take a break and go outside if the day is like it is today. Get some exercise, get some fresh air. That's very important. A really good idea that I received from one of our administrators at school is to have a break from the screens, the devices. That's extremely important. What she recommends is to have the charging station in the parents' bedroom, so that there is a break from that, so they're not up all night and because sleep is very important. A lot of times, since this online learning is going on, the sleep cycles get very, disrupted.
I've heard that. Actually, one of our staff members said their daughter is up all night and sleeps during the day.
Right.
It's making her crazy.
Right. And that's very, very
disruptive.
Difficult. Yeah. Very disruptive and very difficult to keep up. So try to keep that as much as possible. They say that students that age should get between 9 and 10 hours a night.
Well, can you just say that? For my children,
9 to 10 hours a night.
9 to 10 hours a night for children, because so much physically and emotionally is going on with them.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big misunderstanding for parents, the appropriate amount of sleep that children need, because the kids push back on that a lot, of course, little ones to high school. But how important, when they're sleep deprived, it affects everything.
Exactly. And there should be a reward system with, after working a certain number of hours, then give them some time. If the screen time is their reward, then that would be fine.
Right.
And another thing that is really, when we sent out some information, as all the counselors were doing, we've been communicating with the kids. One of the questions I asked is, how is the e-learning going? Mm-hmm. And I received responses from, a myriad of, some of the better students to some of the students that struggled. Is one of the things they really miss is that time with their friends. Oh. So, it's very important that they keep in contact with their friends, whether that be through Zoom meetings or, talking on the phone, texting, that kind of thing, as much contact as they can with their friends, because that is really, really missing right now.
Have the socialization,
yes.
Having that face-to-face, because we were all made to see each other, and I think it puts everybody in a whole different state of mind when you don't have that connection. So.
Sure. And even now, with the stage that we're in, that we're allowed to be, at least in closer proximity with people, it's critical that they see their friends.
Socialization.
Right.
Yeah. One way or another.
Exactly.
Whether that's sitting apart on the lawn or FaceTime or whatever.
Yes.
That's so
very
great
much.
advice.
Oh, thank you.
So I wrote those down because I have to tell you, I think that's crucial when we're talking parenting tips. So what Dan is saying is, be consistent, and again, this is with your children, not only during the school year if you're doing school at home, but maybe even summer to some extent. Yes. Be consistent with hours, maybe not 7 a.m., but be consistent with the hours that they're studying. Keep the same schedule if you have math first, English second, so they get into a rhythm, because whether kids would admit it or not, probably all of us, there's something comforting about a schedule. And then you said, go ahead.
And the place.
And the place. That's right.
Wherever they're doing their work, it has to be the same. And this actually, my daughter did this, because when I working at home, I was in the same place and she was in the same place. She was in the dining room doing her work online for the university, and I was in my den doing my. We're creatures of habit, but it worked. So.
Creatures of habit. Yeah. That's great advice. I know, I'm thinking, to be honest with you, this is great for any adults who are working from home advice.
Yes.
You hear that same thing. Consistent time, same schedule, same place. And then you said take breaks.
Yes. Oh, that's critical.
Yeah.
Right.
We always took a break for Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. That's good. And then sleep, of course, important. We talked about that. And reward for children, no matter what age. Some reward for doing what they should do.
Right.
And of course, high school, their world is their friends.
Yeah.
So how can you creatively make that happen? And then just the whole e-learning thing. So thank you, Dan. Those are great tips. And I guess what you're saying about the school is we just don't know yet. We don't know when we'll know.
I think that we probably will know more mid-July.
Oh, okay.
So probably in the next couple of weeks we will have some idea of what the plan is.
Okay. Yeah. And I think Dan said when we talked earlier that he, of course, works at Valparaiso High School, but Michigan City, LaPorte, the other high schools and elementaries, public, private, will probably have a plan, I would think, around the same time.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Don't
quote us.
Yeah.
Right, right. I know parents so want to know so they can plan, but would you imagine, Dan, that even when the plan gets put into place, things could change?
Things I would count on changing, and really the reason why I'm saying that is because if it does go to just online learning, that's what I'd prepare for.
Okay.
But there's going to be some schools where there's going to be in-class learning.
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay.
Probably the smaller the school, the better.
Yeah.
Better chance of that.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And
Thanks.
if anyone, I guess if a parent has a real crucial question, can they contact the school?
Sure.
Okay.
I would email them.
Email them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably
Email's best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'll get inundated.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you, Dan. Is there anything else about COVID or the schools that you think would be?
They're keeping up, and the schools are working with the health departments just to make sure that they are doing everything from that side. So they're gonna ask for consult from the health department and to do what's best for the kids.
Right. How to socially distance
Sure. Yep.
and be safe and
Right.
yeah.
And I read an interesting article about just last night about how the physicians sent a letter saying that they really want the students in the classrooms because this really affects people of an older age, so the students aren't as affected. So they want the students in the classrooms, but then they, at the same time, they're cautioning that the adults need to still practice social distancing more than the students do.
Well, that's an
So,
interesting
yeah.
point. So not only are we concerned about the students at all ages and their physical safety, but the adults in the building.
Right.
So how?
So-
Oh my gosh, there's so many things
I
to
know.
consider.
And see, the thing is, we're learning more as the day goes by. So that's why I said the middle of July we will know more, and then as the days go by, we will continue to learn.
Right.
So.
And maybe that's what we all need to hear too. I mean, we're fortunate enough at Doombrook to be able to do our work virtually, and in some cases doing the interviews in the building and using good social distancing practices. Right. But I think what you're saying is we have to be patient with each other because
Absolutely.
We'll get protocol in place and then that's going to change.
That may
so
change.
Don't get too alarmed at change.
Right.
We're all learning new changes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Change.
Good.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Dan. That's
No,
great advice.
Thank you.
Great advice. And tell us about, maybe just generally about, you're so gracious, you and your wife, of giving back your family to a community. Your whole life, I think you probably... Tell us about that.
Well, I think that along the way, all of us have received help somewhere. Otherwise, we couldn't be where we are. And my experience with Doombrook goes back, I don't want to say the date because then I'll be dating myself. But I was a therapist at Swanson Center and was given the task of starting the Passages program way back. And I contacted Betty Brewy.
Yes. Betty Brew,
yeah,
right?
Betty
what
Brew.
a great, great
yes,
woman.
Betty Brew. Yeah, so
one of our founders,
yes,
Betty Brew at Doombrook.
And so that's when I started, and that, it goes back to that. And then Les Radke went to our church back then, and he was the one that said, "Contact Betty Brew," and then get started that way. Because I was just given a phone book and a phone and said, "Start this program and let's see what happens." And it's still going on. I just looked at it online. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So, but then over the years, I've attended the gala with my wife every year with Ted Berezanowski is a close friend of ours, and then with the dragon boat races in a couple of years, and I've lined up a couple kids from the school to help with that. And then most recently, bless you,
thank you.
Most recently was given the opportunity to join the board. So.
Oh my gosh.
And then also, I've been with the Maple City Lions Club for the last few years.
Maple City Lions?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then I also was with the Westville Lions, so I've been a president with both of those clubs.
Right.
So, and then also at Valpo High School, we have a backpack program that is set up in the guidance office, the student services office, and there's many different programs there that we support.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yes.
It's really, Dan, so
Yeah.
admirable. I mean, it's a lifetime of giving.
Oh, sure.
And when someone like yourself has the experience, both therapy and school counseling,
mm-hmm.
I think the school counseling enables you to see the variety of problems in our communities.
Right. And all communities have needs, and
right.
There really is no other. There's no other feeling you get when you give.
Right.
And I think that's the key.
Right.
And we can't move our communities forward without giving.
Right. And giving in one way or another. I mean, we also know that people, you may not financially be able to give, but
mm-hmm.
we have people sewing masks for us. We have volunteers at our front desk. I mean, there's all ways to give. So for all our listeners who are out there, think about an area you might be interested in. And, call us. If Doombrook's not your choice, that is fine, but there is so many areas in which you can give. And I think one thing we've learned during this pandemic is, if you would, the beauty of giving
mm-hmm.
and how it helps others and helps us feel better. And, that saying is we are really all in this together.
Right.
And we're as strong as our weakest link. And if we have people suffering, we need to support them. Our work through Bethany Lutheran Church. Yes.
I was on the council for 4 years, and then my wife took over my spot on that. The La Park, the splash park there that they've built up there.
Yes.
That's been very, very beneficial. We're very supportive of all they do and everything. So
it's wonderful.
That's another one that we're very involved with. So it's just there's no limit for what you can do and what we can do as a community.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. That is so great, Dan. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Dan is just, we're thrilled that you're on our board, and I'm so grateful for your knowledge and talent. And your wife and your daughter, we wish her well in her studies at Valparaiso University. So thank you. Is there anything else? Questions? Megan, anything?
So there's a comment from Caitlin a little bit ago. She was grateful for the parenting tips, and being consistent is important, and she also loves Dr. Phil Breaks.
Oh, that's so funny.
Excellent.
The little things in life.
Yeah,
right.
Very good.
Right.
All right.
I do think that work from home, you do get caught up and you do forget to take a break if you've got a busy job, and that's not healthy. I mean, just getting outside, I think we've all talked about that. So that's really, really important. Again, thank you, Dan, and all the best to you and your family.